Welcome to the show, everybody. This is your host, JT, and you are seeing just me from the neck up on that one. There we go. We are live on the 11th of February. Yeah, I got some graffiti behind me, some paraphernalia.
Yeah.
I'm not liking this. With me, as always, I have Ron.
Good morning.
And that's it. Oh, your microphone's picking stuff up on your computer there.
What?
Yeah. Ready? There. Hey, now we have no reverb. Hey.
Cool.
Yeah,
Better?
I got you. I got
Yeah.
you. Yeah. I don't. We should probably hold on. Let me try doing this. Wait for. It doesn't do it anyway. I was gonna say because on the computer screen I'm looking away from you, but I'm looking directly at you.
Nope.
I tried flipping how I brought him in. It didn't do anything. Yeah, so we can do that. Ooh. Hey, that's how I get rid of that crappy Chief stuff. Yeah. For those who don't know, it is Super Bowl Sunday. And I know this is going to actually, whoa, it's doing the whole spinny wheel thing again. You're making all kinds of jittery faces on there. Anyway, yeah, Super Bowl Sunday, Chiefs v. Niners. Go Niners.
Heck yeah.
I'm hearing a low echo.
Oh, a little bit.
Catching all that?
Yep.
It's been interesting. It's gonna be what's going on with StreamYard today. We apologize for anything that's sorts out of whack.
Well, I've been kicked out twice already. So, and now
there was a little power surge. Maybe because I called the Chief stuff paraphernalia or some graffiti.
Yeah. Maybe it's the graffiti word.
Could be. I apologize for that to the Chiefs gods or whatever they have. I don't know. As you notice, the biggest Chiefs fan out of all of us is not here.
Right.
We shall not divulge any information that he is not willing to let us divulge. However, we wish you a speedy recovery, Ryan.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're at home watching.
He's probably not sleeping.
Hopefully you're
probably
sleeping,
watching.
yeah.
No, he's sleeping.
Hopefully by now he's sleeping.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's it's a fun story.
Poor guy.
We'll let him tell that one. So, Ron, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good.
Yeah, you awake, alive, upright,
yeah.
north of dirt.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
All the analogies.
All those things. Yep.
Those are analogies, right? I'm on the struggle bus today, so you're gonna have to prop me up.
Oh, good.
This will be a great show. Hey, you are jumpy as all get out. Look at you all firing around.
The internet's just freaking out.
And you're all pixely.
And I'm even using the good camera this time.
I
am.
Pixely on your side?
No.
Oh, well. Cheers.
Yeah, whatever. Welcome
to another jumpy, choppy edition of the Dirty Rubber Chronicles.
I don't know why we can't seem to get good Wi-Fi or good recordings or.
I have my theories.
Okay.
We'll keep them on the inside because I don't want to upset the gods any more than they already are.
Right.
As you're frozen in time right now.
So are you.
Nice.
Yeah.
We're online.
I'm sure it's still recording.
It's gonna be a great show. It's really gonna be a good show.
Whatever.
Yeah, I got all 6-ish hours of sleep last night, so struggle bus.
Yeah, I got home from my mom's house in Oklahoma about 10:30, 11 o'clock. So
Not horrible.
No.
What time were you up?
7.
That's not horrible.
No.
Yeah, I got up at like 6:45.
Yeah.
Went to bed just before midnight.
Good times.
Didn't fall asleep right away.
Who can?
That's fair.
Oh.
Hitting buttons over here. I'm hearing things.
Are
you catching it?
I'm behind.
So it's through the headphones. It's
Yes.
gonna be a great show.
Yeah. And
The best part is
what?
it's on National Inventors Day.
It is.
We're having issues with an invention.
And we could invent some better internet connectivity.
It's possible. But we'll
Who
get
knows?
there. We'll get there. First, let's do some Today in History. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good to me. I'm ready.
If I can find the right one. Ready, set, go.
And here we go.
So weird.
What
It
happened?
blipped out in my headphones.
Oh.
So today in history.
My headphones are so behind. It's ridiculous.
Well, again, we're firing on some cylinders today. So
the good thing is I can hear you physically right now.
yes,
So I know that there's not going to be a lot of like real dead time, even though I can hear you right now still talking from the last time you said something right now.
That's fair.
Way behind.
Way behind. I mean, we can hit the reset button.
Nah.
That's what's the fun in that.
We've done it before.
We have.
Too many times.
Clunky.
Yeah.
Let's just power through.
Today in history.
Today in history, February 11th. I got to make sure I'm looking at the right page here. Wait for it. Gonna pull this guy up. And there we go. Starting 1534 in the Wayback Machine, Henry VIII of England is recognized as supreme head of the Church of England.
With him and all 6 wives.
Him and, well...
Probably not at the same time.
He petitioned the Pope to have a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
Because the church was a big thing back there, and they were all Catholic.
Right.
Catholic. And the Pope was like, yeah, no, it's not a good enough reason. So he decided to break away from the Catholic Church, form the Church of England. He is the supreme head or the Grand Poobah.
God, that gives me North Korea vibes.
It really does. And
Yeah.
it was all just because he was having an affair and was tired of the older woman that his family set him up with. And just a mess. Just a mess. And then from there, it began just years of back and forth between the Catholic Church and England and the Church of England and Protestants and Catholics, and really bled over into his children. And
well, and they still don't necessarily have a good relationship. It's not the Gaza Strip.
Right.
But
it's definitely not Israel and Palestine.
Right. There's, some weird tension.
Yeah. Tension's a good word.
Yeah. Just difference of opinions.
Yeah. I've seen, pictures, and you can do a Google search and find it. And I'm sure we could throw it up there if we wanted to. But why? There's such a strong, I don't want to say hatred, but disdain between Catholics and Protestants that they can't be buried in the same cemeteries. And then so there's like a husband and wife that were, one was Catholic, one was Protestant. They married for 50, 60, 70 years, whatnot. And
buried separately.
They buried, I don't know if it was a husband or wife, I don't remember off the top of my head.
Sure.
Outside of the cemetery. And they buried her inside, right next to the fence. And they have dual headstones that come up, and then at the very top of the fence, they're holding hands.
Oh,
I mean, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
It's awesome. It's like that's one way to stick it to.
Right.
To show that it doesn't matter.
No. 2
people love each other. Let it be.
Right.
So it's
their
cool.
beliefs are their beliefs, and that's whatever.
Right. They believe in the same deity and made it work. Didn't matter what church they belong to.
Right.
We're not going to get all political or political.
Ooh, that's another one that
on
didn't work out quite right.
Which
That's
one?
1903, not 193.
193. U.S. Congress adopts the Expedition Act. As I got a little frog in my throat.
Yeah.
I'm doing my best, Patrick Mahomes over here, which authorizes the Attorney General to expedite antitrust cases through the courts, reflecting growing popular support for President Theodore Roosevelt's trust-busting campaign.
Yep.
So there's that.
Well, there's so much corruption in the 1900s in the, steel, meatpacking, oil, and railroad industries.
Yeah.
There's just so much lobbying, so much push from union bosses.
Well, and that's when you were really getting heavy into lobbyists creating career politicians, people that they were constantly in their back pocket, and then they could control the government to get the laws and the trade agreements and production, just everything to benefit
up there, whatever.
Yeah. Again, corrupt.
Yeah.
Moving on to the next, we're going to go all the way to 1943. U.S. General Dwight D. Eisenhower selected to command the Allied troops in Europe. not just the American troops, the
Right.
entire Allied forces.
Right.
British General Montgomery is not pleased. I guess he had been in control of the Allied forces for some time.
Right.
And then the U.S. enters because Pearl Harbor. You control it.
And they gave him the coveted one of 5 generals ever to get a 5-star general rank, general of the army.
Of the army, yeah.
Just head dick. Just you.
Big swinging Dwight.
Yes.
That's what I call him.
But yeah,
Kansan.
yeah,
Kansan from Abilene.
he did.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
You ever been up there?
To Abilene?
To Abilene to see the Dwight D. Eisenhower Museum.
No.
It's worth the trip if you're into Dwight D. Eisenhower history.
Or if I'm ever near Abilene.
Or if you're ever near Abilene, which with your job, you never know.
You never know.
You never know.
It
If-
could be.
If you have an extra hour, stop by
Right.
during normal business hours.
Right. On a lunch break.
So,
We'll see.
it's again,
But I get where Montgomery came from.
yeah.
Going
No,
back to that,
no,
I get it. He was the European general that was
he was the
doing great, and
he
he
was-
just in the Americans and them being able to follow their weak generals.
well again, but it was also the American arrogance was really coming to form.
As it should be. We are the best.
Have you seen the newsroom?
Yeah.
Have you seen that opening scene? I'm just saying. If you haven't, YouTube that guy.
Yeah.
Just saying. Such a great opening scene. Probably the best ever.
Just hits you right in the feels.
He's right, though.
Yeah. It's true.
We do set the tone for the world on.
Arrogance.
There is that.
Yeah.
A lot of other things as well. Let's see. Moving ahead, 1990 on the way back.
Mandela somewhere right outside the front gate. And
Outside of the prison.
yeah, it's not a terrible place it looks like to be. So that's all I got to say.
It
about
looks
that.
more like a military base than it does a prison.
It does. Except I would never imagine trees right at a gate. That seems
Yeah.
counter security measures and
I don't know. South Africa.
yeah, I mean
It's not here.
yeah.
We build walls around everything.
Yeah.
They just put up a gate
right.
saying, okay, hold move.
All right.
I'm just going to stay right here.
I'll be here.
I'm Australian all of a sudden. Let's see. Moving ahead. Also the same year, same day.
Same.
Ooh,
Well, it's weird how that works when it's
didn't realize that's the first time on the show.
yeah, I think so.
And then our 8th episode.
7
Today.
Yeah, well, it depends on how many you actually count.
Right. The Dark Show.
The Dark Show that
This would be our 8th episode.
yeah, 7th for me because that was
I am the one mainstay. I'm the only one who's not called in sick yet.
no my internet 5-star hotel called
dude,
sick.
you can tell if you were hungover or whatever. It's cool. You need to go back to bed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you're on vacation. I get it.
I tried.
With the whole family.
Yep.
Anyway, let's see. 1990 on this date in Tokyo, Japan. Buster Douglas knocks out Mike Tyson in 10 rounds to win the World Heavyweight Championship. He was a 42-1 underdog. Somebody got paid on that day.
Yeah.
Some Tyson haters.
Oh yeah. Those guys are like, oh man, fuck him. I'm gonna.
Exactly. Michael Spinks.
Let me know when you're back in.
Yeah, now you're out.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I don't know what is up with StreamYard. It's not the internet.
Let us definitely hope that it's still going.
I mean, I'm back.
Okay.
Thankfully, we've got some Facebook users that are
I am
alerting us.
Bad.
So,
Good. You can't see my screen though?
no, not yet. But
Okay.
I can double hear you.
Oh, good. Share.
There, I got you.
Can you see the
I
slide?
gotcha. Now we can.
Yep.
Happy birthday.
First, we have to cover one honorable mention.
Oh, look at you.
February 8th,
Last Thursday.
1978.
Is that why you asked what year I was born?
Yeah. And then I found this. Are you still watching the slide?
I'm coming back. Oh, there it is. The high school
There's
picture.
a little bitty guy.
You know a fun story about that picture?
I'd love to know.
So look at the nose. Look how red that nose is compared to everything else.
Sure.
I lifeguarded in the summers. And no matter how much zinc oxide I put on my nose, I mean, like caked on the white stuff. We used all the colors back then because
Right.
it was the 90s.
Yeah.
And my nose still got I'm surprised I don't have skin cancer. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
Very Niners maroon. Most of the time. So we
Just a permanent
right
redness to your nose.
right. So we would do senior pictures before the senior year actually started.
Sure.
So at this picture, I had started cross country practice. I was still
outside.
lifeguarding.
Yeah.
Right. On one of my breaks, it was like, oh crap, we have senior pictures today. Because I think we were the second class, maybe the third. I think we were the second class. Oh God, that guy flew by on a bicycle. To where they didn't allow you to use your actual senior pictures that you would have taken by photographer or whatever with all the goofy poses and all
Right.
that. Couldn't use any of those. You had to use these right with the bat that was on fire because they lit the rubber cement on the end of it or whatever. Yeah. So we were the second or third class, like I said, too. We had to use the school mandated pictures.
That's terrible.
And I forgot about them. And so I called down to my buddy Darren, who he lived 3 blocks from the pool.
Sure.
And then the pool was like a 2-minute drive from the high school. And I'm like, hey, I forgot about senior pictures. He goes, you need to borrow clothes. I'm like, yes. So I borrowed his white shirt, and then he had like a slew of ties.
Yeah.
And it's all the Major League Baseball logos that are on the tie, right?
Nice.
I'm also wearing my swimsuit. They're in flip-flops. So you see me, I'm all like buttoned up and
You were like the precursor to the COVID
Yes.
Zoom calls in your pajama pants and dress shirt.
exactly. But I borrowed some hair gel and like scrubbed my face because I had the zinc oxide caked onto
Of
it.
course.
Yeah, and I mean I look nice and tan. Look at JT, a little
Yeah.
17-year-old JT right there.
I thought you'd like that picture.
I do. I'm not ashamed of my senior picture.
Good. I got off of your Facebook page.
Yeah.
So if you hate it that bad,
I wouldn't have put it up.
right. or you'd have taken it down.
Or there's that. All right, moving on. Thank you, Rod.
Yes.
I do appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. It's close enough.
It'll do.
Yeah.
It'll do, pig. 1847. Happy birthday to American engineer businessman. Developed the first light bulb and phonograph, otherwise known as a record player.
Record player. But it wasn't because they were waxed drums.
Right. Phonos.
Yeah.
No, they're not called phonos.
Phono.
I wasn't around then. What do I know?
No.
I'm 46, not 100 and whatever the maths are.
Yeah.
Thomas Edison.
Yep.
The thief, as he was
Known.
I don't want to say known because we don't really know.
That he didn't make the first light bulb?
Well, that he didn't steal patents.
Right. But
He was accused of a lot of things.
that could also be said for things that I'm going to cover later on in the show.
Sure.
Where not necessarily are they invented by someone, but they're just made better. Just made
They're improved upon.
And not always is the best invention the first one.
Sure.
Just because somebody else had an idea doesn't mean you can't come around and go, hey, this is good,
But I
But
can do
what if we did it this way and made it better?
anything you can do, I can do better. There's that.
Thomas Edison.
Thomas Edison from the Wayback Machine. Moving ahead. Did you hit the slide?
I did.
All right.
Leslie Nielsen.
1926 Canadian actor and producer. Naked Gun himself, Frank Drummond. Leslie Nielsen.
Airplane, Naked Gun.
Yeah, all the good ones. Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Yeah.
That is a great show.
I'm pulling out of obscurity.
I love that one.
Yeah. And then
It's so bad.
he died 2010.
2010. You even I was following your lead on that one.
Yeah. 19.
Yeah.
But his epitaph on his headstone said, "Let her rip." All right.
All right.
Let her rip.
Surely you can't be serious. I'm always serious, but don't call me Shirley.
My wife hates that joke. Hates it because I do it all the time because she uses the word surely. And if you use the word surely,
You should say surely.
right. And if she actually said surely, I'd let it go.
You are so getting ripped when you get home.
And it's
man.
because I do it every single
I
time.
love it. Moving on. Moving on. 1936, American actor and director, Florida State football alum. I believe he was an All-American too.
Think so.
Born in 1936, Mr. Burt Reynolds. Bandit himself. Not Smokey.
No.
Bandit.
No. You know, and I've got these up here that he was Smokey and the Bandit, second highest grossing domestic film of 1977.
Yeah.
He was in The Longest Yard in 1974 and in 2005. I don't know off the top of my head another person that was in
The remake of their own film.
remake. Yeah.
I'm sure there was.
I'm sure there was.
But off the top of your head, yeah.
But that's super impressive that he could actually pull off a role in both.
Yeah.
That's cool.
He was in Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
Boogie Nights.
He was the voice of Charlie B. Barkin in All
There it
Dogs Go to
is.
Heaven.
I couldn't read the last word. It's been forever since I've seen it. But
Yeah.
All Dogs Go to Heaven is one of my all-time favorite
It's
animated
a great
animated movies.
Yeah,
not,
it's
not-
great.
Not CGI.
No, it was hand drawn.
So good.
It was good.
Yeah.
And he played a basset hound, which is cool. Charlie B. Barkin.
Charlie B. Barkin.
Oh, Charlie.
Charlie.
Perfect for that character.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
I don't know why he keeps kicking me out. I'm back.
It probably will me too soon.
I'm
No.
back. Well, according and
Yeah.
it's the reboot. However, The Switch, good movie.
Yeah.
Wanderlust, really good movie. I don't know if you've seen that one or not.
Yeah.
The Bounty Hunter, I haven't seen that one.
Gerard Butler really carries it. He does. He's got
a few movies where he's really good in. Yeah.
Law Abiding Citizen.
That one's really good. It's not his birthday, so
Yeah, we'll get sorry, Gerard.
we might hit it someday. What's one I was just thinking of? We Are the Millers. She's really good in that one.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
you're this is gonna be a show, man. I can't wait to watch the playback. Moving right along. 1977 American musician and artist and producer.
Yep.
I just had his other band that he's a part of. Lost something.
Fort Minor.
Fort Minor. Their song.
It's on the slide.
Where'd you go? I can't see it. I'm looking at my notes
Okay, fine.
because I actually take notes
Yeah.
and then forget that I take them and send them to you guys.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Where I get the list of things from to make the slideshow.
Well, yeah, no, I get it. I
Yeah.
get it. And you do your job well.
Thanks.
You do. You really do.
Just don't look at
It would look really bad if I did it. It would look crayon drawn.
It's
So
just PowerPoint. It's easy.
anyway, Mike Shinoda. I've never used PowerPoint before.
Okay, that's easier than you think.
Literally, the first time that I ever saw how to make a PowerPoint, like the back So it was when you said that's the first one, and I pulled up PowerPoint on my computer.
Oh, okay.
So 45 years plus.
Yeah.
Never really seen it.
Give or take.
Yeah.
It's like I said, it's easier than you think to make it look like you have half a clue what you're doing.
Sure. I get it. Well, ta-da.
Yeah.
So
Half a clue.
solo credit for post-traumatic 3-song EP reflecting on the death of Chester Bennington,
Yeah.
one of my all-time favorite bands, Linkin Park.
Yep.
Seen them 3 times in concert,
Really?
once at a festival.
That's cool.
That was awesome.
I bet.
I saw them at the Coliseum when we used to have concerts here. I saw them at the arena downtown here,
Cool.
and then I saw them at Warped Tour
Very cool.
before, right after they really hit it big with their first album. So it was like with them and Fall Out Boy and
Badass.
Bowling for Soup.
Okay.
You know them,
Uh-huh.
California band.
Yeah.
And Andrew WK.
Mm-mm.
You'd probably know him if you saw
I'm
him.
sure. Probably.
Most people know his song because you hear it on a lot of college football ads.
Oh, gotcha.
Party, we party hard, I think is what it's called. Anyway, Andrew WK. So the way the Warped Tour, they had it here in Wichita out at the old Greyhound Park. Greyhound Park was shut down, so they had all Ruffins land out in front of it to use. And they had certain areas to where they had semi-trailers like linked up. It was almost a maze to get back to where it was going. So they would fold down the side of a trailer,
Mm-hmm.
and then that was your stage.
Sure.
They would have it all sectioned off to where you had the crowd and everything. There was all standing room only. Well, Andrew WK was one guy, and then he had a keyboardist, he had a drummer, and he had a bassist and a guitarist. That was it.
Pretty basic.
It was
bare bones for a.
Power chord. I mean, hell, really was what it was. But he moved around so much on that stage, he shook the trailer.
That's cool.
Okay, jumping around
Just
and
getting in it.
getting after it, right? So we went back there to see Bowling for Soup. We knew who Andrew WK was. He was whatever, novelty act. And so we're standing kind of by the back, and Bowling for Soup comes on. And as you know, their bassist is like 450 pounds, and he's got a double aught in his tongue, so you can't understand him. He would bounce his pick off of his stomach and catch it. And he played bass with a pick.
That's awesome.
Because he couldn't get his hand around enough to.
Oh, to actually. Yeah.
I'm assuming at that point. But we're standing near the back, me and my buddy Wes and a friend of his from college. And we're standing back there. Also, we hear, "Hey guys, do you mind moving a little bit so I can watch the show?" And I, turn around kind of like, "Man, what the?" And it was Andrew WK sitting back there.
Oh.
And he was just at a table.
Yeah.
By himself. I don't know if he was supposed to be signing autographs or what, but he was there.
Yeah.
And we're like, "Oh yeah, man, absolutely. Hey, great set." He's like, "Cool. Hey, do you guys like beers?" Like, we love beers.
Who doesn't love beers?
So we sat there and watched Bowling for Soup with Andrew WK and had beers.
That's
He
pretty
had
epic.
He had a cooler of 24-ounce Miller Lights, and we just pounded them. Awesome. I have some good stories.
Fair.
My life should be a movie, but it would be a lot of boringness, and then huge things would happen.
Random things of amazing, and,
Right.
and then back to boring for 3 or 4
Hey,
years.
do you
and
guys like beers?
you guys like beers?
It was the way he said it too. He's like, "Hey, do you guys like beers?" I can still see his face too. It's like, "Oh my god, it's Andrew WK.
Totally.
We're having beers at Andrew WK." Again, 24-ounce Miller Lights.
Right.
I think I had like 6, and I had already had a few before that.
Sure.
Little drafts in the plastic cups.
Yeah.
It was a good day that I remember most of. Moving on. This would be my woman crush.
Okay.
1982. The world was given English actress. Knew her from The Tudors. Knew her from Game of Thrones. And
Yep.
she was the woman that Captain America kissed.
Yep.
In the first Captain America, we have Miss Natalie Dormer. There it is.
Yep.
I don't know the one with her head shaved. I don't know
With
what that,
the,
I don't know what that one
vine
was.
tattoos. That's from
Hunger Games. I didn't know she was in. I haven't seen Hunger Games, so I didn't know she was in
Okay.
it. But there you go. You got Captain America. You got Game of
I-
Thrones, and you got the Tudors.
I tried to pull one from all of them.
Yeah.
Look at me.
Look at that. We're on the same page for once. The in memoriam segment for today. We have one.
We have one, and I told you before the show, I didn't know his name.
Right.
I had no idea.
until you see the picture.
And then you see the picture and you go, oh,
Lost this day in 1994, American actor and director.
yeah.
Sorrel Book, not Brooke. I always say Brooke.
And you messed it up.
I did. I knew I was going to. I told myself not to, and I still did.
Sure.
So, most people know him as Boss Hogg from the Dukes of Hazzard.
JD Boss Hogg.
JD Boss Hogg.
Them Duke boys.
Born in 1930, passed away on this day in 1994. Shorter actor. He was actually a Shakespearean actor.
He probably could have walked under this desk.
I don't know if he was that short, but you're not far off.
Right.
But
huge in personality.
Big personality. Best known, like you said, as JD Boss Hogg. He was General Wilson Spalding Barker on MASH.
I feel like MASH has come up on our show in 7 or 8 episodes. MASH seems to come up more than anything else.
I don't know. It's a good show.
The 4077.
I still have not seen the movie. I need to.
I don't think I've seen the movie. If I have, it was a while ago.
I need to.
But
I've never seen it, but
hey, do you like beers? Come over and watch it sometime.
I do like beers.
I do like beers.
Wow. Just ask Andrew WK.
Yeah.
So, all right. And lastly, today, the reason we are here.
February 11th.
In more ways than one, the reason we're here.
Yeah.
Today is National Inventors Day.
For our nation and for a few others. But it's not a worldwide thing, which I find kind of weird.
Thus national.
Right. Not World Inventors Day.
Exactly. It's not Earth Day.
Earth's Inventors Day.
Earth's Inventors Day. I mean, we wouldn't be here if somebody didn't invent the Earth. That's not how that works, is it?
Well, depends on who you ask.
I mean,
Kicked out again.
Oh, you're down.
Yep. My screen flickered. I hope it's still recording.
It is on my end.
Okay, so
I'm still here.
As long as somebody's still here, I guess.
My other computer's still here, but it's not in the screen.
Nice.
Waiting on you to get back in.
Waiting on me.
And then you gotta share your screen again.
I'm done.
Whoa. There we go.
I have nothing else to share.
I know, and we're late and slow, and there now your microphone's muted again.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I mean they can hear you.
Okay.
Anyway, you want to start? I'll start.
By all means.
You're tripping all over yourself. Oh lordy. So how far back do I want to go? Like from most current to.
Let's end with most current. So start with your oldest.
My oldest. So we could be here for days, brother. Be here for days.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me grab my other computer.
Is this the one with your notes on it?
It's got some notes on it.
All my notes are up here.
I'm sure.
I just go full hog memory. Whatever.
Boss Hog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, do you like beers? If not,
I do like beers, but I prefer whiskey.
You know what? So do I. My first invention, as I'm just burping up a storm over here. So what we originally did was we were going to come up with 3 different time frames, and we were all going to pick, one from the 1700s, one for the 1800s, one from the 1900s.
And I stuck to that.
And you stuck to that, and so did Ryan for his
right.
For all of his efforts.
Right.
I'll mention his first.
Okay.
I'll give him a little
credit.
Good
job, Ryan.
Hey! Ryan's first one, 1783. The first parachute was invented. I do believe, I almost went with that one as well.
Oh, there's a bumblebee riding
by.
by.
Somebody driving by on a weed eater. But it's the first usable parachute.
Sure.
Because if you look back, Da Vinci came up with a concept of a parachute back in I don't know. And I think it was 1521, for being honest. 15.
Yeah, internet went down.
Yeah. You're breaking up.
I'm going through a tunnel. Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, I do believe that was the first usable parachute.
Sure.
And if Ryan was here,
he'd probably be able to back that up.
Lollygagger. So that was his first one. My first one, I went with. I gotta find the actual date that I used because it's a little.
It's not 1700s.
It's a little contested. I went pre 1700s.
A little bit.
The year is 1494.
Hey guys, and for anybody that ever wants to know anything that matters, Justin set up the time frames. Justin was the one that said, "Hey, let's do like 1700s, 1800s," and then.
But I think
I'm going to take my own rules and just throw them out the window.
I think as we're figuring out that I don't read my own notes.
No,
often.
And when something fits as well as it does, then
you guys are okay with it.
My only problem is you didn't.
I didn't bring a prop. You're right.
You didn't bring any whiskey.
I know.
That's my only issue.
I thought about it.
You should have. You thought you should have.
Bro, I was up late last night.
Don't care.
I know. I mean, I could go get some. But then it would be you for quite a while.
I don't know how much I can talk about inventing.
I'd have to go to the other side of this building to get some. Anyway, 1494, the Irish invented whiskey.
Weird.
So keep in mind, though, that the Macedonians were really... They created beer.
Sure.
Beer is not whiskey.
Fact.
They figured out that fermenting certain botanicals, that they could change the flavor of things.
Mm-hmm.
However, they did not create the whiskey. They created different forms of alcohol. Fast forward through the years, you get all the way to the Middle Ages. You come up into Ireland, and those lovely sons of bitches that are my forefathers figured out that if you put them in barrels and cask them, let them sit for a while, a few years here and there, the fermentation actually turns into a lovely brown elixir.
Nectar of the gods.
Nectar of the gods that we call whiskey. However, if you are in Ireland, whiskey is spelled with an E.
Right. Here
in the rest of the world, there is no E. Why, you ask? Nobody knows. There's really not a reason. But
there was a reason. They got so drunk they don't remember it. That's my...
Probably not wrong.
Yeah.
Probably not wrong. So the word whiskey, or whiskey, if you're Irish, whiskey, is an Anglic. It's
a what?
It's a big long word. Of the classical Gaelic word, usage.
Okay.
UISGE.
UISGE.
There's no pronunciation, guys. I'm winging the fuck out of it. Here's the deal, though. Is that since mine is the one that controls the audio, I think when I get booted, you get cut.
Fun. Okay.
I don't think you get booted.
I just get cut, and then your mic doesn't pick me up. So that's even better.
Right. But we do have 3 very loyal people.
Just sticking in.
And we are all the struggle bus. So
God bless all 3 of you. I owe you a drink, whoever you are. Leave us a comment or something. So
leave us. Just go to the Facebook. You'll see who's commenting and all that good stuff. So from whiskey, we get Scotch. Scotch is just literally whiskey that was made by Scots.
Right.
There is no difference.
All Scotch is whiskey. Not all whiskeys are Scotches.
There it is.
Same with bourbon.
That is the rule?
Yes.
Law?
Yes.
Anyway.
Bourbon's American.
It is. So the Guild of the Barber Surgeons, which is basically just a barber college from way back in the day, is the earliest mention of whiskey in Ireland and Scotland. It comes from the Annals of Clonmacnoise, Clonmacnoise, which, if you want to know what that is really just an Irish chronicle, kind of like record keeping, Encyclopedia Britannica, if you will, of the Irish.
Yeah.
That is the earliest mention, and that would be in 1493. The Annals of Clonmacnoise. Clonmacnoise. I can't pronounce it. It's a lot of letters thrown together.
Lots of vowels.
Right. Covered events in Ireland from prehistory up to 1408, and then it became the McGonagall's book after it was I can say McGonagall, but I can't say Clonmacnoise. But then it was turned over into the Connell of the historian. David Seller, who was the Lord Lion King of Arms in Scotland, concluded that it dates from 1627. So it depends on where you really...
Sure.
What you subscribe to is when they change it over and change the names and all the fun things such as that. However, 18th century, the Acts of Union merged England and Scotland, and thereafter taxes on distilled spirits rose dramatically, and then from there, all the battles started over whiskey.
Yes.
Whiskey, as some of them call it. But, I mean, the American Revolution, George Washington operated a large distillery at Mount Vernon. So even in our country's early history,
Whiskey's involved.
Whiskey's involved.
That's fantastic.
At one point, it was a form of currency.
It still could be. No, I will mow grass. I will hang Christmas lights. I'll take them down. You give me a bottle of whiskey.
Right.
I will do things.
I don't want to go too far with that one.
No, stop.
I did.
But like,
so I don't want to go.
You know what I'm
far.
saying? Like if somebody says, hey, I need a transmission changed in my car. Cool. Bottle of whiskey. I'm there.
Exactly. Oh,
Yeah.
I've had people come and help do things, at the house.
Yeah.
Move some things for a bottle of whiskey. I have gotten whiskey from my father-in-law.
Yeah.
The last 2 Christmases. Woodford Reserve is the last one. He's up in his game.
Okay. Good. Yeah.
It's a great gift. It's a form of currency. It has started wars. It has ended wars. It has been the one mainstay in history since the late 1400s.
Since as far back as when it was invented.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But alcohol has been a mainstay in history since the Babylonians, since the Macedonians back in,
Right. And that's
BCE time, before Common Era.
Whoa.
There you go.
No, whiskey's great. I get a bottle of whiskey for birthdays. I get them for whatever. Sometimes my wife lets me buy a bottle that I did try last night, that black currant one.
How was it?
It's really good. It's a higher proof than I know. It's like a 90
I
proof.
say 90 proof if I remember what the
Yeah.
label said. Yeah.
But it's got a gargoyle stopper and it pours through the mouth, which is super cool.
Right.
Well, it was funny because I was looking at it, and I when I first got it home, I was like, it doesn't pour, and I went to go try to pour it, and there's another stopper on the inside.
Got to take that out.
There was one on the top, and then there's one on the inside. I was like, oh, that works a whole lot better now.
Makes a little more
But yeah,
sense.
it's really cool. It's got like a brownish red color to it, and it pours, like I said, out of the mouth of a gargoyle.
Nice.
We should get that here.
Yeah, we'll see.
It's gimmicky. People buy gimmicks.
It is, but they don't buy the bottle.
You could sell the bottle.
I know. Anyway, we'll talk
We'll
about
get
that
there.
off the air.
Yeah, we'll get there.
So, whiskey is not just one and done. So
No,
you have malt
gosh, no.
whiskey, which is made from malted barley, and then you've also got grain whiskey, which is made from any type of grain.
Right.
You know why? Because they don't care. Make the whiskey. So malts and grains are combined in various ways. You have single malt whiskey,
Which is one kind.
pretty self-explanatory on that one. Then you've got blended malt whiskey,
Right.
pretty self-explanatory there. Then you've got blended whiskey,
Which is different kinds of whiskeys blended together.
correct.
Okay.
Then you've got cask strength,
Which is
which is
higher.
whiskeys are rare, and usually only the very best whiskeys are bottled in this way. So
Cool.
it's a different process. It's more involved.
Right.
And then you've got single cask, also known as single barrel. Whiskeys are bottled from an individual cask, and often the bottles are labeled with specific barrel and bottle numbers. I have a few of those at home. They're collector's items, collector's editions, things
Sure.
like that, one-offs here and there. But yeah. Then you get to the American style. You've got bourbon whiskey, which, for being honest, unless it comes from Bourbon County, it can't be considered bourbon.
Right.
However, there's bourbon style
Well, it's like champagne has to come from the Champagne region
Champagne.
of France.
Exactly. Bourbon's made from mash that consists of 51% or at least 51% corn or maize if you're indigenous. And aged in new charred American white oak barrels. So that's how you get the.
That's what it takes.
That's
to
how
be
you get the bourbon style.
Sure.
Is that it's in a white oak barrel and it's at least 51% corn or maize.
Right.
But unless it actually comes from Bourbon County, it's not true bourbon. Then you have corn whiskey, which is made from mash. It consists of at least 80% corn and is not aged.
It's just
There's the kicker. It's
fermented
just
and just bottled.
straight fire.
Whew.
So then you have malt whiskey, which is made from at least 51% malted barley. You've got your rye whiskey, which is at least 51% rye, which I prefer ryes.
Okay.
They're like you were talking. I think you were the one commented on it, but they're a little sweeter.
Yeah.
Than just a regular barley.
Right.
And then you've got rye malt whiskey, which consists of at least 51% malted rye. And then you have wheat whiskey, which is made the mash consists of at least 51% wheat. So in order to be a certain style, it has to be more than half of that particular grain in the mash.
And that makes sense. It's got to be the majority, whether it's 51, 70, whatever, it's got to be the majority.
Right.
Sure.
No more than 80% alcohol by volume to be considered a whiskey. Otherwise, it turns into moonshine.
Right.
Which, again, runs in my family.
Yeah.
My mom's side, my grandpa on my mom's side was a moonshiner for years during the Great Depression and Prohibition and all that.
Awesome.
Also Cajun. So
a Cajun moonshiner.
Yeah, they were down all around Arkansas, around the Louisiana border, all that area down there. Snowball, Arkansas. If you want the exact location of where, I think it's Snowball, Arkansas, on the side of a mountain that didn't get snow. Then you've got light whiskey, blended whiskey, spirit whiskey. Australians have Australian whiskey, which doesn't really. It's Liquid Gold Awards. It's one mini. Jim Murray's Whiskey Bible.
I don't think I've ever had an Australian whiskey.
I don't think I have either. A lot of people have had Canadian whiskey.
Right.
Crown is it Crown Royal?
Crown's Canadian.
Crown. God, excuse me. Seagram's, Wiser's. Another one. You got Danish whiskey, English whiskey, Finnish whiskey, French whiskey, Georgian whiskey. That would be the country, not the state.
Georgia, big G.
Yes. German, Indian, Irish, Japanese, Mexican. I mean, you name it.
Japanese. I mean, that's
sake.
That's rice. That's wine, though, isn't it?
That's rice wine, basically. Yeah. Production began in the 1920s. Before 2000, Japanese whiskey was primarily for the domestic market, and exports were limited. In recent years, though, Japanese whiskey has grown in popularity, such as Suntory.
I've heard of that.
And Nika.
Okay. So, I've heard of Suntory.
There we go. Then you got Mexican whiskey, or as they call it, water. Scotch, sweetest time. I mean, there's you name the country and it's there. So
they make it somewhere. It's too good not to.
Right. So the color, and it's got to be a brownish reddish hue to it. So there we go.
Cool.
That is a brief wading into the history of whiskey.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And I like whiskey.
Me too.
It just doesn't have to be. It can be that simple though. For me, it's what kind of whiskey? How do you like? I like it neat. I like it kind of on the chilled side. I've got these little steel liquid filled balls that I keep in the freezer, and they keep it cold, so it's a little bit chilly. I don't really add water to it. I've added a couple drops here and there, but I'm not an on the rocks kind of guy. I just like it cold.
I like it on the rocks.
Okay.
And that way it takes me a lot longer to drink it. The ice melts, it refills it a little bit.
No, it doesn't. It waters it down.
It does.
It doesn't refill it.
I said a little bit.
Unless you're freezing whiskey,
the drink goes. That's anyway.
It's $1 million idea, though.
If you could freeze a whiskey, so
get it cold enough, you can freeze anything.
Right, you're not wrong. But there's plenty of ways to chill your whiskey if you like it that way. Drink it on the rocks, drink it neat, drink it as an old fashioned. When we went to Kansas City a few weeks ago, I had a smoked old fashioned.
Yeah,
I want to do that here. I'll see if I can get a blowtorch in here for us to use.
That'd be cool,
wouldn't it? But yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways you can drink it.
Yeah.
And it really is user's choice. So,
It's versatile.
so
I do want to try that one that I just got, that black currant one,
yeah,
in an old fashioned, because it's already got that citrus and the berry flavors of the
Sure,
cherries and stuff.
sure.
So a black currant finished whiskey, and I'm not a big finished whiskey guy, like a peanut butter whiskey and all the
Sure.
other ones.
This one's not bad though.
It's not bad because it's really strong.
Yeah.
90 proof is 45% alcohol, which is higher than
Right.
a lot.
It's got a pretty good bite to it.
Yeah, it's got a real good bite, and then it's kind of got that berry on the backside, and you kind of go,
Okay.
"Oh, cool."
I got you.
It's not like you're drinking something that's in your face.
Right.
Black currants aren't that strong of a flavor anyway. It's not a
No,
cherry. It's
but-
not a raspberry. It's just decent. I
Right.
like it.
I mean, it's, throw in some black walnut bitters with it.
Yeah.
And that'd be.
I mean, that is an old fashioned then, as it is. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds
But
good.
I think it'd be good with it. So
Maybe some chocolate. Ooh, chocolate bitters would be good with it too.
Yeah.
Throw that in there and mix up a little sugar. Put an orange
Yeah.
peel for zest.
I'm having an old fashioned tonight. That's for sure.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So there's whiskey. So on to
So,
your.
On to mine, in 1776, there was some stuff happening here in that year, I'm
Some
sure.
People were angry.
But over in England land,
England land.
there was steam engines, and we all know the Newcomen steam engine, of course, because that's yeah, right.
Of course.
How do you not know the Newcomen steam engine?
Right.
What it was the first one, but in 1776, James Watt,
What?
the reason we measure
Watt?
things in watts and not Newcomens
What?
took
Fair.
the idea, and this is where I was alluding to earlier, the idea of a steam engine, and made it better. James Watt did not invent the steam engine. Full stop. He did not invent it.
He improved upon.
He was improving on it because he had an employer that wanted him to work on the Newcomen engine, and
This is rubbish.
he just found inefficiencies.
That would be
He found,
Scottish or Irish.
yeah, it wasn't really just British.
Rubbish.
Yeah,
Go.
a lot of rolling R's there. Yeah,
Rubbish.
but he found that the Newcomen engine was one that used atmospheric pressure and a vacuum
Okay.
from steam. So there's a cylinder and a piston,
Sure.
and I'm going to use this with my hands because I don't have a picture of it. But
Hold on, I'll blow you up. I'll make you bigger.
there is a cylinder. That's you bigger.
I'm getting there.
But anyway,
There. That's all on you.
steam was fed into a cylinder with a piston at the bottom, and the piston rose from the weight of there's an arm that pumped water out of coal mines. And that's what the reason they had steam engines at first was to pump water out of coal mines, because as you dig for coal,
Sure.
water settles,
Sure.
and then you can't mine anymore. So they
That's fair.
wanted the water out, and they built a pump that was ran by a steam engine, and that steam engine used a vacuum
Right.
and atmospheric pressure to move a piston up and down.
Gotcha.
But what the steam engine did was barely enough to overcome atmospheric pressure, which our bodies do naturally.
Right.
So you can imagine it wasn't that strong of an engine.
No,
because
but I mean,
right. And James Watt found that inefficiency, and he's like, we can do this better.
sure.
And he took, so the first engine shot steam into the cylinder, it raised the piston up, and then a little jet of water was shot in, and that little jet of water turned all the steam and cooled everything down, condensed it created a vacuum, then atmospheric pressure
Right.
took over and drove the piston down.
Right.
And that's where the power came from. The power came
When it came back down.
down
Right.
from the vacuum. Great. James Watt said, what if we put steam on both ends?
Created force pushing
And
on both sides.
And you could create, and you could use the force from
Use the
Yeah.
force.
you could use that force to drive the piston both directions, and if you're driving it in
Right.
both directions, then you can add a flywheel. And that was the big thing. He
So you're
turned
pushing on both ends.
pushing on both ends, and then it drove a wheel
It's moving the
that made
wheel.
a rotational force.
Right.
And then it's a constant. So the pump, the original pump, was working only when it was under power. But if you're driving a
Right.
wheel, then you can put fins
It's
on a pump, and it's
Right.
constant.
Constant power.
James
Gotcha.
Watt, he also put on a really cool, kind of like a governor. So it had a spinning aperture on it that when it spun too fast, it would lower the steam pressure. And then as
Right. Otherwise,
it would govern itself, so it wouldn't run
Right,
away. It
right.
wouldn't just go faster and faster and faster,
Well,
like you'd think like a locomotive's chugging and chugging and chugging, and then it
right.
just goes into oblivion. It actually had
The
a
friction
governing
heats up
body.
too much, and the parts start to melt down and explode.
Right. And metal working in the 1700s wasn't the greatest, but there were good minds.
Right.
They were like, hey, we got to control this. We've got to make sure that it's not something that gets blown up.
Sure.
Which is really cool. And he also took the idea of an external condenser. So the original engine was all self-contained in one unit.
Oh, sure.
He found that if
I
you
see what
take
you're
it,
saying,
you take separate parts, you can keep certain hot parts hot and cold parts cold, and
they
it's
can
going to
all
be
work
more
and
efficient.
They can all work in harmony. And
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't want your engine block to be at the same temperature as the head of your engine.
Right.
You don't want your valve train to be running at the same temperature as your, crankshaft at the bottom of the engine. They need to be at different temperatures. They
all
gotta
the
run,
things, right.
right. They have to work well. And then the better things work together, even separately, the more efficient they're going to be.
There you go.
And he found that out. So it's pretty cool.
That sounds like a lot of sleepless nights to me.
Over something that doesn't, and that was the crazy thing that when you think about it, it was over something that that worked and existed.
It already existed. It did a job.
But he pulled other ideas out of obscurity and found ways to automate the valves opening it. Because and he also had an articulating arm on the top of it.
Articulating?
Articulating.
Okay. I was going to say, that's a word I don't know. Is it?
Articulating.
Okay. I wasn't making fun of you.
No.
I was like, ooh, what's that?
What's that word?
I've known everything you've talked about so far, and then I don't know that word, and it wasn't a real word. You just mispronounced it. So
thanks for making a whole thing out of that.
I didn't mean
Yeah.
Dick.
It's okay.
Not Richard.
No.
Yeah.
But no, he kind of made a way to automate all his valve train. So when the valves would open and when they'd move and close, it was all controlled by the engine itself.
Yeah.
Which led the way for railroad engines and all the other engines going forward that ran on steam power, and even still some other ones that may be running on gasoline and jet fuel were all self-contained.
Jet fuel.
Weird.
Moonshine.
Yeah. We're going full circle without even knowing it.
Without even knowing it.
Weird.
Didn't plan that one at all.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's all I got to say about that.
That's all I got to say about that. Gotcha. Well, there you go.
Yeah, pretty cool.
And he created the Watt.
Yeah.
You could say that.
The Nukeman.
The Nukeman.
I mean,
it's a mouthful, man.
Yeah.
We'd probably call it the Nuke.
Well,
now, this one runs on 800 nukes.
That'd be cool.
Would it?
Until the
nuke was invented.
Yeah, and then find something else. Let's call that
the nuclear.
Yeah.
Nuclear. George Bush.
Yeah.
Let's see. Ryan's second one from the 1800s.
Yay, Ryan.
1829, the Braille system was invented, which means that blind people could read with their fingers.
My only question with that, because I don't have a lot of information because Ryan was doing it.
Right.
How do blind people find Braille to read to start with? How do you know where to look for Braille?
You're told. And you're intelligent enough to understand. When I go to said place, I need to look for...
No, and I understand the words you're saying.
Right.
I also know that if I put a blindfold on right now and knew I had to go take money out of an ATM, I know the steps to do that.
Sure.
I cannot find an ATM while I'm blind right now.
No, but again,
once I got there, I could feel the buttons because in my mind, Braille and ATMs go hand in hand for some reason.
But you're also doing it from a sighted person's perspective.
Right.
You're not able to wrap your mind around it from a blind person's perspective, which that is all that they know. That is, their sight is with their hands.
Right. It's very impressive to me, but I just
and their sense of smell and
right and
all the things.
Fair.
But how did you know what an ATM was? You were taught.
Yeah.
The thing that gets me is why is there Braille on a drive-up ATM?
Okay, that's just because they make the same ATM everywhere.
I know. But you gotta ask.
Oh yeah,
You gotta ask.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Anyway,
Braille.
Braille.
Series of dots you can read with your fingers.
That's all I got.
What did you just feel there? Did you have a sentence?
It said move on.
Please subscribe.
I was
by your
typing.
fingers.
Oh, I got nothing. I really got nothing. Moving on to my next one. I did stick to the time frame with this one. The 1800s.
Yeah.
The year 1885. John Pemberton, a pharmacist, created a miracle elixir called Coca-Cola.
Oh.
And we all know it now as
Coke.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Actually, Coke, unless you're of the older generation, then it is Coca-Cola.
Right.
Because there was Pepsi Cola and Royal Crown Cola and
There's plenty of other
colas.
Right.
So cola really just means that it was made from the coca bean. It's a coca flavored drink. So originally it was made with alcohol, but teetotalers and all that, they forced him out, and so he needed to replace the alcohol substance with it because he was using it as a pharmacist. He was using it to help cure, like they thought brandy, they thought whiskey, and they thought beer could cure certain ailments, certain issues that you had. So he was in the mindset of trying to create a new one.
But see, that made sense with beer.
Sure.
When water supplies were not the purest, but you have to boil water to make beer.
Sure.
Then it makes the water better. And people didn't understand, obviously, the microorganisms that were alive.
Right, and we understand that now, exactly.
Right, but to make beer, you kill off all those things that people were getting sick from.
Right.
So I get it.
Right.
I understand where they would think beer, whiskey just made your problems go away.
Well, it made you forget about them anyway.
Well, at least, they at least forgot. But no, that made total sense, though. Beer, if all you drank was beer, you got less sick. It must be a medicine.
Sure.
It must be something that helps you feel better.
Sure.
Until you stop drinking and the hangover hits you and you feel like shit for 3 days.
Right. And the older you get, the longer that feeling lasts.
Yeah. So I said 3 days.
Yeah. Trust me, I know.
Yeah.
It's called Kansas City. So a little background on John Pemberton. He was a Confederate colonel. He also had a medical degree. He was wounded in the Civil War, and he was addicted to morphine.
Okay.
As they were back then, because everything hurt because it was very rudimentary.
Right.
We'll call them hospitals.
Question
they
mark?
would be sent to. Yeah. But he was on a quest to find a substitute for the problematic drug morphine. He worked at Eagle Drug and Chemical House in Columbus, Georgia.
Okay.
And he came up with, like we said, it was an alcohol-based Pemberton's French wine coca nerve tonic.
Okay.
He's trying to fix his own ailments. As well with his medical background, his medical degree, he, worked with what he knew.
Sure.
Pemberton's tonic may have been inspired by the formidable success of Vin Mariani, a French Curacao coca wine. So he didn't just come up with it out of nowhere. He did have a basis to jump off of, kind of like with the steam engine. He improved it.
Right.
So
sometimes the best inventions aren't the first one.
Right. Correct. They're improved upon inventions. Just ask Thomas Edison.
Right.
So in 1885 is when he created that. In 1886, Atlanta and Fulton County passed prohibition legislation. Pemberton responded by developing Coca-Cola, a non-alcoholic version of his own French wine coca. So I replaced that with the coca leaf, which is basically putting cocaine instead of alcohol in what it just wasn't the ground up fine powdery,
right?
Scientifically diluted down.
It was cocaine, but it wasn't cocaine.
Right.
Yeah.
And it appealed to many in the temperance movement that enjoyed white sport during the time. First went on sale May 8th, 1886. So not long after he invented it, he had to change it, and then he put it on sale, and it ran from there. Initially sold for 5 cents a glass.
I'll take it.
Right. And and it was sold at Jacobs Pharmacy in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
So Atlanta was a big hub back then, just as it is now. So very, post Civil War, the demographics that they had in that area were starting to diversify.
Sure.
You're 20 years past Civil War, you're a generation ahead. So there you go.
Sure.
He claimed that they would cure for many diseases, including morphine addiction. Shocker, I know.
Weird.
Indigestion, as everything back there seemed to.
Right. All the mystic tonics.
Headaches.
Yeah.
As everything back
Right.
then
You give
seemed to, right. Nerve disorders, which is what ailed him, and impotence.
Interesting.
So drink Coca-Cola, your stuff works again.
Yeah. And you're a little high. So
yeah. He ran the first, I think that's more it than anything. You think it works.
yeah.
Anyway, he ran the first advertisement in May 29th of 1886 in the Atlanta Journal. So he really jumped on the let's go. Let's make some money. So 1888, 3 versions of Coca-Cola were sold by 3 separate businesses. So they took the formula, they didn't really have a patent on it.
Right.
And they ran with it. A co-partnership been formed on January 14th, 1888 between Pemberton and 4 Atlanta businessmen. I'll save you their names because they are not noteworthy who they really were. Pemberton really was the driving force. They did have one guy, his last name was Bloodworth. That was cool.
That's neat.
Is it right?
Just why not?
Thomas Bloodworth.
They have different,
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
It wasn't codified in any single document. Verbal agreement was given by Asa Candler years later and asserted under testimony that he had acquired a stake in Pemberton's company back in 1887. So
sure.
Run with the fast forward. There are hundreds of different flavors of Coca-Cola now, depending on where you are in the world. There's the Coke Zero that has 0 sugar. You have Diet Coke that has one put aspartame in it. Now it's got some other man-made
different
sweetener in it instead of sugar.
Right.
And then you've got literally every flavor of fruit you can think of in.
Oh yeah.
In your Coke. So.
Then there was the whole new Coke, classic Coke, when they changed the recipe, and everybody hated it.
Right, and classic Coke doesn't taste like classic Coke. New Coke tastes worse than classic Coke. It all tastes the same to me. I think it was a placebo effect. People just thought it was supposed to taste different.
You know how great it would be if they did change the recipe, called it new Coke, and it said, "Sorry, we're gonna go back." It's, and it was still that.
And it was recipe. The same thing, and everybody was like, "Oh my god, it tastes so much better."
It's so better again.
It's so better. So there you go. Let's see. The name Coca-Cola was first used in a book in 1950.
Okay.
So that's really when it was changed over to the product that we're so privy to now. So and in some parts of the Southern culture, it is still all soda is referred to as Coke. You go to a restaurant,
right? You
say,
"Can I get a Coke?"
And they're going to say, "What flavor would you like? What kind would you like?" I don't know what you got. They'll say Pepsi, Mountain Dew, Dr. Pepper, Coke.
Right.
So
it's just Coke.
Right. And to come full circle, Mountain Dew was originally made by moonshiners to cut their moonshine.
Nice.
See, I'm linking all mine together.
That's fun.
At least those 2. I don't know how I can link the last one to the rest of it, but
I'm going to get my first and last at least.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't think I have any more notes really.
Well, then I should move on to my second one.
I was looking for if there was any. Yeah, no, there isn't really anything else of noteworthy. I could throw numbers at everybody all day.
Right.
I'd rather not.
Yeah.
I'd bore them.
Well, that's why mine are up here.
Right.
I may stumble. I may stutter some. I might not quite find the right word.
And that's fine.
I also don't have notes in front of me, though. So, because.
Are you trashing on me?
No, they're just different styles.
No. I would never.
I would never, sir.
Right. Yeah. Moving on.
So the year's 1815 now.
In the Wayback Machine.
Whoa. Well, you were 1885
85.
and I'm 1815. So we
Right.
kind of did this a little bit out.
Right.
But imagine yourself a coal miner in the
Ooh.
early 1800s.
I will.
You're underground. It's dark.
It's dirty.
It's dirty. It's
dank.
And the only way that you can see where you're swinging your pickaxe is by candlelight. Well, that's
not good.
It's not bad.
Candles only last so long.
Candles only last so long. Even if you use an oil lamp, they only last so long. And they only put out so much light.
Wattage.
Hey.
Hey.
Whoa.
I could connect.
You did do it.
God, look at the big brain on me.
You know, it's funny. I'll get back to what I was going to talk about because I'm going to forget this if I don't. I used to play a game when I was really, really busy in the Air Force.
Called Watt or Nuke?
No.
Okay.
I found that you could connect any 2 pages on Wikipedia for any 2 subjects just by clicking on hyperlinks within like 6 pages.
So 6 degrees of Wikipedia?
Yeah, you can actually do 6 degrees of Wikipedia on just clicking on hyperlinks for all of them. And we could do like ketchup and like the SR-71 Blackbird. And you can still somehow find a way to click on enough hyperlinks within their pages that you can get to it within 6 pages.
Moves, yeah.
It's actually kind of, like I said, it was only when I was really busy in the Air Force that we would do that.
Really busy.
Yeah.
So for the next 2 weeks, if you're bored at work or home.
Yeah. Find the most obscure 6 degrees that you can connect.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Let us know if you can make that work on. And give us. We want to know what 2 things you linked in 6 moves or less.
But the 6 moves don't necessarily have to be shared.
No, I just want to know what you linked. The obscurity
of I can get from tree frogs to race cars.
Yeah.
Cool.
Hair ties to window clings.
Exactly. You just kind of go, I can do this. And
I literally just looked around the room.
Where do you see hair ties?
I know, but it was obscure.
Okay. Well, yeah. So anyway,
back to wattage. Candles.
Yes.
Candles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Humphrey Davy.
Humphrey Davy.
Humphrey Davy.
Oh,
He invented
that's a name, man.
Yeah, it is.
Humphrey Davy.
Humphrey Davy. 1815 designed a lamp that would get rid of the biggest danger in a coal mine.
Flame.
Flame plus methane.
Open flame equals kaboom.
Well, because if you think about it, you're swinging an axe in the dark and all of a sudden you hit a pocket of invisible explosive gas. That's bad. And it was killing thousands of people.
It's not good for your health.
Okay.
Okay.
But it was just one of those things that was an inherent danger. You'd hit a methane pocket, you'd hit some kind of explosive gas pocket in the dark, and all of a sudden the mine is on fire. And you kind of go, neat, this is gonna be great. He found that flame does.
It's not my first time doing that.
Weird. Today?
That too.
That too, yeah.
First time in the microphone on this show. Sorry.
I try to pre-open everything just for that reason.
It's more fun when you do it on the air.
I guess.
You sound like an alcoholic.
Right. I gotta drink another to get through what the crap Ron has to say.
I'm struggling. It's not because of you.
Oh yeah. No, I told my wife about my topics for this week, and she was like, "Oh, that sounds boring."
Yeah.
And then boringer.
Well, from the chat room, at 9:18, I don't know who said it because it just says Facebook user, but they said they always learn from us guys. So
cool.
We're doing something.
And I'm happy to share knowledge
to learn.
I hope it's not boring.
It's all about the storyteller.
I hope it's not boring. Yeah.
Fair. Move on.
So he found that, and this is a super cool thing. The problem with mines and explosions was that the flame could propagate through an entire gas cloud.
Oh yeah.
Which is
quickly,
which explosively fast. Yeah.
Explosively fast.
What he found was that if the flame can't travel, the explosion stops, which sounds very easy to wrap your head around at this point. If you can have no flame, you have no explosion.
Right.
But what if you can keep your flame just in your own oil lamp? And that's what he did. He encased a flame around a wire mesh like a screen door mesh.
Sure.
And found that even if you introduce methane to the fire itself, it'll react inside the mesh because it's still exploding.
Right. Okay.
But it doesn't come out. So the methane's still there.
It contains inside the one location.
So you not only don't get an explosion anymore, you also get an early warning that there's a high gas propagation somewhere.
Does the light get brighter, basically?
Yeah, it gets brighter, it flickers, it's exploding inside this little wire mesh that's about this big cylindrically around the flame.
Sure.
So it goes, and it knows that there's methane there or some kind of explosive gas.
Right.
And everybody can get the hell out until they can ventilate the mine.
Well, before they didn't, they use canaries in cages.
Right.
And because, the canary died, gotta move.
Right. And
we hit a methane pocket.
Yeah. And you either have to wait or whatever.
Yeah.
But this also took out that danger at the same time.
For the canaries, for sure.
The canary population skyrocketed.
Just took off.
Yeah. Whoa. They flew the coop. Woo. But yeah, it was just one of those really cool things that if you can stop an explosion,
you are a superhero.
You're going to save so many lives.
Oh, I thought we were coming full circle to the last episode.
Oh yeah, I don't know. That's maybe super. I mean, Humphrey Davy wasn't in our last podcast, but he probably could have been.
Should have been. He stopped explosions.
An actual hero.
Right.
I just thought it was cool because I watched a video of it, and a guy took a big long PVC pipe, filled it with methane, held a blowtorch to one end, and it went.
Right.
And all of it just almost instantly.
Sure.
He put a screen in the middle, still filled the entire tube up, put the torch on one end, and the flame went
and stopped.
At the screen. And then he took the blowtorch on the other end, and it still ignited all the way to the screen. So the gas is still there.
It's just a screen.
It's just a screen, and the flame doesn't go through screens. That's it.
Gets confused. What?
It just stops. It just the flame can't go through.
That's interesting.
It's a really cool thing because if you think about it, when there's a forest fire or a house fire or something,
just put a screen up.
The flames just go through everything, and the fire consumes all.
Sure.
All it takes is you to stop the flame, and then you can stop an explosion.
That is crazy, though.
Yeah.
I mean, something
pretty cool.
Simple as a screen. And you encased it.
You do it just the right way. And what's crazy is that his invention still holds up today because there's just no better way to be in a gas-filled area with an open flame. Now, would I want to try it out? I don't know.
No.
I might do the tube thing because that was kind of neat.
Sure, that's a controlled experiment.
It looked really cool because in the dark you could see the blue flame propagating through, and then it hits the screen and just stops.
How bad was he puckered up the first time he went to a mine?
Yeah.
Oh, God dang, you couldn't get a grease BB in that guy.
Right. So, but it was just a really cool. I thought it was a really neat, neat thing that somebody was like, "Ooh, what if we just? How do I stop this from happening?"
Right.
And it used it as a warning. Cool.
I can't wrap my mind around the fact that it's just a screen.
Yeah, it's a wire mesh screen.
I'm sure that it is a very whoa.
Sorry.
I mean, certain size openings in the screen.
It looks like a screen door. No, it's.
But it's a smaller screen. If it's a bigger
one that it can shoot through.
That's what I'm saying. It's got to be
like a screen door.
Yeah, it's got to be a certain size.
Let me see if I can. It's a super neat thing.
See if you can pull that up there.
Yeah. It's just a simple screen, and there's been different.
I'm sure that there's been different takes on it,
right? And now there's different
iterations of it to improve the.
But yeah, it's
what's
just
the word I'm looking for. I don't know.
But here, I'll pull up a picture of it, and. It's just a screen, and you would put oil down in the bottom, and you'd light the wick just like a regular oil lamp, and it had a screen on it.
Crazy.
And that can be in explosive environments with no danger of explosion.
Is it just methane, or
that was the biggest problem for them because they were down in coal mines, and
the
that's
biggest
where the
propellant.
methane. Right. it would work with any gas
Sure.
because it's a flame. It's not the gas that mattered. It was the actual flame can't escape the screen.
Weird.
Yeah.
Awesome, but weird.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
So, right on.
Yeah.
We'll go back to the big one so they can't see the Chiefs crap behind me. Ha! So, one Facebook user would like to know if the screen can prevent wives from arguments.
No.
I don't know who said
you
that.
You can't stop those.
Oh,
That is an unstoppable force.
just looked up. It's my buddy Miguel.
Okay.
Sorry, buddy. You're on your own.
Yeah. And now good luck after that comment.
You're on your own.
That's funny.
On to Ryan's next one. He did, and I knowing that he wasn't going to be here, I thought about taking it, but I'm not going to steal his thunder.
Okay.
He went in 1972. Magnavox Odyssey was the first video game console.
Yeah.
I was looking up. I was thinking about going with the Atari
Sure.
2600, and then I saw that the Magnavox Odyssey. And as I am researching, reading on it, he sends the text through our group text. And I was like, "You son of a bitch!"
Right. You
He's
beat,
like,
beat me to it.
He's like, "What?" I go, "I was literally reading about that, and I was going to use it."
Nice.
So, you guys can read on your own on that. There you go. So, my next one, I went with. At first, it was TBD because I wasn't sure.
Yeah, you had no idea.
Because I was researching. I was researching the Magnavox Odyssey, and then he took my thunder, and so I had to TBD it. But I went with the 1943 James Wright, WRIGHT.
Yeah.
Created a popular kids toy
Oh.
known as Silly Putty.
Ooh.
Ooh. It was originally created because during World War II, that's 1943, scientists in America were looking for a different plastic compound
Okay.
because they had very few back then. They were looking for something that was pliable, something that was moldable, something that they could manipulate
Sure.
without putting extreme heat to it in order to
Right.
manipulate. Because an engine goes out, you've got this extreme plastic that's just
Napalm.
Your
Yeah.
engine falls, basically.
Yeah.
So what they found was a silicone polymer
Okay.
that contains viscoelastic liquid silicones. What is viscoelastic? It means if you put enough friction to it, if you put enough movement to it, that it turns into an elastic-like substance.
So you pull on it, it stretches.
Correct.
I'm smart.
It is a type of non-Newtonian fluid.
That's a fun word.
Right.
So is ketchup.
What is a non-Newtonian fluid, you ask? As a fluid that does not follow Newton's law of viscosity, is variable viscosity depends on the stress. So the more stress you put on it, it's going to act as a different type of substance.
Right.
For example, ketchup, in my notes,
Was it really?
it is a non-Newtonian fluid. It becomes runnier when you shake it, so the more friction that's built up in it, it becomes runnier. It doesn't solidify. Many salt solutions, molten polymers are non-Newtonian fluids. Substances such as toothpaste,
Yeah.
starch,
Okay.
cornstarch, paint, shampoo, custard, and one that's in every single one of us, blood,
Fair.
is a non-Newtonian fluid. So,
Which is funny if you think about the substance that we need in our body, probably almost as much as water,
right.
doesn't follow Newton's laws.
Right.
It's fun.
Right. So that's the whole blood is thicker than water. It's a different type of fluid. So
It's non-Newtonian.
it is non-Newtonian, whereas water is Newtonian.
Right.
So the big characteristic that with Silly Putty was that the faster that it moved, the more solid it became. Whereas other non-Newtonian fluids, the faster they become, the more liquid they become.
Sure. Okay.
So if you throw it hard enough, it'll bounce. If you set it down and let it go, it'll actually run like a liquid, like water. There are pictures if you go to the Facebook page of, say, a ball in water. It doesn't pick up the water. You put it on a table with a hole, it will actually pour through the hole the longer it sits there.
Oh,
It's,
fun.
it's not like it'll pour through like water,
Right.
like you dump it down a hole and it just swirls and goes. But the longer it sits there, it will actually pull through the hole. So
That's like if you mix the right, was it cornstarch and water?
yes.
If you can hit it and it's solid, you can walk on it, it's solid. But if you stop, you'll just start sinking down in it.
Quicksand kind of
It's kind of cool.
What is that stuff called? So there's a YouTube channel I watch every so often called How Ridiculous. They're an Australian based.
Yeah. They throw stuff off of water towers and
right. They've got that
dams and
goop stuff that they'll put into like a kiddie pool. I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, you can slap it and it doesn't move or whatever. But if you put something on it, it will.
You put your hand on it, it'll just
right. Yeah. But at the same time, you pull it back out, and then your hand isn't wet. It acts as a liquid, but it doesn't.
It's not a liquid.
It doesn't act as a liquid. It's
right.
so weird.
It's like Newton couldn't come up with a term for it.
Right. I'm going to try and read some of these ingredients, and I am going to
fantastic.
Bomb.
Hit me.
I mean, this is going to be the Pearl Harbor of pronunciations.
Wow.
I am just going to get bombed left and right on this. So, the original coral colored silly putty, which we all know, is 65% dimethylsiloxane, DIMETHYLSILOXANE.
I mean, you lost me at the first R.
Yeah. Dimethylsiloxane. We'll go with that. It's hydroxy-terminated polymers with boric acid, basically, is what it is.
Okay.
We've all heard of boric acid. Some people actually use that in some remedies, some home.
Okay.
Anyway, 17% silica. I can pronounce that one.
Good job.
Which is just crystalline quartz. So that is 9% thixotrol, castor oil, basically. It's a derivative of castor oil. Let's see, 4% polydimethylsiloxane. So it's the dimethylsiloxane plus a polymer added to it. It's polydimethylsiloxane.
Piece cake.
I'm getting there. 1% decimethyl, some other words. 1% glycerine, 1% titanium dioxide. So I got through that one. I'm sure that I bored the bejesus out of a lot of people. But we're up to 4 listeners.
That's good.
On the live stream. But again, what they found was that the original petroleum-based ink that they use in newspaper printing, that the silly putty would actually absorb the petroleum base, not just the ink itself, but also the particular color of it.
Right.
And so that you could lay it down on another piece of paper, and you can actually, it was part of almost like a rudimentary printing press.
Sure.
So the way that this substance that they created, like just throwing stuff in a vat and mixing it around, and what happens?
Oh, to be a scientist working on that, you just go, let's just throw a bunch of crap in here
and pray it doesn't blow up.
Yeah.
If so, we just need a really thin screen mesh.
But
no.
Close.
But just the depending on how it's used and the velocity at which it's used, the just everything about it, you could change it into several different ways. You can slowly pull silly putty apart, and it acts as like a goo. You can quickly pull it apart, and it breaks like a solid.
It's pretty cool.
So there you go. There's my last one, silly putty.
Yay. So my last one, I saw and I just had to say dibs.
Mine.
Dibs. And I'm not going to bore anybody too much, I hope. But I could talk about it for 9 years.
Too late.
Almost. Wow.
Like I didn't bore the bejesus out of people. Actually, the mental gymnastics I used to try and get through those chemicals.
Yeah. It's funny.
Laughing at me, not with me. Gotcha.
Yes, absolutely. The early 1900s, the invention that I was wanting to talk about, jet engines. Yeah, they really blow.
I wasn't ready for that one. I was not ready for that one.
Hans von Ohane,
the German
physicist.
Yeah.
worked with engines, and
What?
so before they were in planes, they used them in like laboratories and stuff like that to kind of use this. They I mean, they're turbine engines. They weren't necessarily always at first looked at as a thrust producing entity, but it was an amazing way to get rotational force.
Right.
And that's cool. They're compact. For the amount of power they produce, they don't have to be big. When I was in the Air Force, there were small turbine engines that we put inside the F-15 to get things started.
Sure.
That you could, if you can carry 150, 160 pounds, hold in your arms. But it was enough to get the big engines going.
Right.
Which is cool. So, for those that don't know, jet engines are the internal combustion side of the external combustion of a steam engine. Bad joke.
I'm back.
Hello.
We're hiding the bad joke. Yeah. Whew, we're back.
Who had the bad joke?
Paul Schmidt.
Oh, my father-in-law.
There it is.
Yeah, cool.
I thought it was a great joke.
Thanks, Paul.
Hey.
Yeah.
Canaries. Go.
So, jet engines.
Jet engines.
Put up another picture for you to throw on the screen here.
They blow.
They do blow. They suck. Jet engines work in a very easy way. Suck, squeeze, bang, blow, just like a car engine does.
Suck, squeeze, bang, blow.
Suck in air. It compresses air.
Yeah.
It adds fuel, bangs it out, and it blows out the backside. It's simple.
So it's like eating chili.
Sure.
It blows out the backside.
Yeah.
Again, bad joke.
It's okay. We're getting through it.
Are we?
Sure.
One way or another.
Somehow.
Kicking and screaming. Or sleeping.
Right. So the first jet plane, the experimental Heinkel HE-178, flew August 27th, 1939.
So the beginning of World War II.
Yes.
Germans were doing their German things all across Eastern Europe.
With their little propeller planes.
The little propeller planes.
Yes. And
I
then
don't know if that was German or not.
I don't think that was German.
Nah.
Nah.
That was Russian. Nah.
But the engines that were being put in this plane were super, super gas inefficient.
Oh, I'm
They
sure.
were just blowing through fuel,
I'm sure.
which was a problem because they could get up, they could fly, and then they'd have to land again because they were out of gas.
I could just say, we're up. Oh, I got to come back.
Oh, I got it. And well, we had to do that in Afghanistan. The F-15s would take off, get up to a safe altitude away from all the mortars and rockets, get over in mountain range, and then catch a tanker because they were out of gas.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, an F-15 will run out of gas in 20 minutes at full power.
But that's what they needed to get up to.
Right. You have to get up and go.
Yeah.
But you can be out of gas in 20 minutes.
That's crazy.
If you're at max power.
It's inefficient.
Well, no, it's an incredible amount of power.
It's inefficient.
And
put in a mesh screen. Hear me out. No?
No.
All right.
No.
That's why I'm not an inventor.
No. No, an F-15 is the only plane to this day that can accelerate vertically. Straight up. Every other plane loses speed.
Oh, accelerate vertically, not just go vertical.
Not fly vertical.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say, I thought the F-35 could.
35, right. It can accelerate.
It can
nose up, tail down. It can fly up.
Right.
Faster, the longer it goes.
It accelerates.
It accelerates. F-16s slow down. F-22s, F-35s, they all slow down as they're going up.
Sure.
They can get speed and they can do it for a while, but they're slowing down.
Yeah.
And F-15 has enough thrust from its two jet engines.
But it runs out of gas.
Well, you run out of altitude too. You're going to end up in space.
It's only 6 miles.
Yeah.
So.
Well, but that's another reason why an F-15 is the best plane ever.
Hey.
My favorite plane is the F-15. The coolest plane is
A-10 Wardhog.
or the Blackbird.
Oh, sure, bring that
It
guy up.
ran out. It outran missiles.
Have you heard
The Soviets shot a missile at it, and they just stepped on the gas.
Have you heard the guy? He was a pilot for the SR-71, and they were doing they were earning seat time.
Mm-hmm. Is this when they're messing with the ground speed?
The F-15 or F-18 or whatever came over after. There were just multiple. I mean, planes that were just trying to show their manhood.
Right. well, so it started with one plane that was like a single engine prop plane that called into the tower to get a ground speed reading because that's what they had to do because he didn't have the instruments on board to do so. And then a twin engine Beechcraft or something piped on, and he's like, "Can I get my ground speed?"
Yeah,
I love this story actually.
Yeah, it's a long story.
It is.
It's like a 9-minute story,
right?
Which is otherwise I'd play it on here, but
and I'm sure he probably doesn't want us playing his videos without rights and stuff, but. But yeah,
we'll put a link.
One plane goes faster, one plane goes faster, and then some
the
F-18 out of somewhere in LA or something calls over and gets a ground speed. And I got you at 650 miles an hour across the ground.
Knots,
whatever.
693 knots.
Yeah,
at ground speed.
And the SR-71 pilot that's just floating up above him thinks, man, that military plane surely has enough equipment on board to know how fast it's going.
Right. He knew exactly what he was doing.
And he knew he was just going to be the king dick in the valley that day.
And he goes, and that's when I heard the radio flip on from the back seat.
And he knew he had a best friend.
And he goes, and that's when we became a flight crew.
Yeah, exactly. Because I got you doing 1,743 miles or knots across the ground. Yeah. He said, well, we're closer to 1,800. He's like, I'm sure you got it. Yep. I love that story.
And he's just such a good storyteller.
Oh yeah, it's definitely one of those ones to watch.
Again, we'll put a link up to it in the Facebook group.
But anyway,
it's a good one.
Fuel efficiency was the biggest problem with these first jet engines because they were just dumping fuel, and what happens is it would combust, spin a turbine, and then the front compressors would spin, and it would work again, self-contained in itself. It would control that way. Igniting gas didn't just create some kind of crazy runaway.
Sure.
That's cool.
Runaway.
Well, Pratt & Whitney in 8 found an amazing way of changing jet engine design to work better, and it's a dual spool design. So the compressor blades spin independent from the fan blades.
Okay.
So there's the intake of an engine has 3-4 stages of blades depending on the design.
Sure.
And they're the main blades that suck air into an engine. They're basically intake blades. They don't do a whole lot of compression. They don't do a whole lot. They just pull in shitloads of air.
Right.
Cool.
To help the propellant.
And then it gets into the compressor stage, and that's somewhere between 6 and 12 stages of it just cramming the air down tighter and tighter and tighter, and it gets hotter and hotter and hotter.
Sure.
But those two things need to spin at different speeds.
Oh, gotcha.
The compressor blades need to spin extremely fast, whereas the intake stages don't necessarily have to be screaming fast.
Sure.
So the air gets crammed down, it gets introduced with fuel, lit off, and then it hits 2 different sections of turbine blades. The first sections spin the compressor. That's where the most power is, right after that explosion.
Right at that point.
And right there's the most heat, the most power, the most thrust, the most inertia. All those energy gets sent to the compressor. In the inside of all that, it's all hollow, which is super cool. The last section of turbine blades,
canister.
It's a can in a can in a can rotating in a can.
Sure.
It's super cool.
Sure.
But those last set of turbine blades are what's powering the fan. Now, after all that energy sucked up by the first set of turbine blades, whatever's left is just spinning the front, just happily spinning away.
Right.
And you can see it when an airplane's sitting on the ground. Those fan blades aren't spinning super fast. You can see the little spiral just going away. They don't really spin fast, but because they're so big, they're just sucking in
They're pulling in tons of air.
Tons of air. Just tons. So, Pratt and Whitney.
I was just saying, you lose that one in the backswing.
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. Pratt and Whitney came up with it.
There.
Pratt and Whitney again took a design
Yeah.
that was not invented by them, but they improved on it. They took it, they made it so that it was more fuel efficient, so that fighters could cross the Atlantic, so they could stop and maybe have to stop only in Greenland instead of in Nova Scotia and Greenland and Iceland and
puddle jump, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
They were able to actually get where they were going with the efficiency and the speed that they wanted jet engines to do.
Sure.
Which is pretty cool.
Right.
So I could ramble on forever.
I'm sure you could, and I could listen forever because I mean it's all interesting to me, but I don't know jack about shit when it comes to a jet engine.
Sure.
I know the base, what it takes. I mean, you mix the air with the propellant, and then you light it on fire and you push it out the back.
Yeah.
And it pushes it forward.
The one thing that's super cool is that they can be used in. There's 3 different major designs. There's a turboprop, a turbofan, and a turbojet.
Right.
Turboprops are anything that has a propeller attached to the front. Think C-130. Think small business prop jet.
The moose knuckle.
Well, that is turbofans.
Right.
Which is the second one, which is think commercial plane, C-17. It's got the big fan in the front.
Yeah.
And then turbojets are fighters, the more compact, the ones that just shit and get.
Sports cars of the air.
Yeah. Just this side of rockets. Yeah.
Let me throw a name at you.
Okay.
Werner von Braun.
Yeah.
Do you know the name?
I know the name.
So he was part of the Nazi Party.
Okay.
But he was one of the lead scientists, one of the lead engineers on the V2 rocket system.
Okay.
So once World War II was over, he realized, oh, we were doing bad things. I thought I was just a scientist for my country.
Sure.
He immigrated to the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
and became one of the leading scientists for rocket propulsion for these space programs.
Cool.
So a little movie called October Sky. Jake Gyllenhaal's in it.
Yeah.
A handful of people you would recognize seeing. Fantastic movie. And they mention Werner von Braun a lot because of Jake Gyllenhaal's character, which is I can't think of his name. There it is. He reads a book. He really falls in love with the idea of going to space. There's a scene where they're all outside and they can see Sputnik going over. I mean, this puts the time frame in it.
Yeah.
They are in Colwood, West Virginia is where it's located in.
Okay.
Which is just an armpit of a town. It was just a mining community of like 2,000 people. His dad was the head foreman in the mine. So see, we're coming full circle with all this stuff. But he's an average student at best. His brother is like this soon-to-be All-American football player. He's half the size of his brother.
Sure.
And so he what am I going to do with myself? Well, him and his friends decided to get into rocket building because of Sputnik and Werner von Braun and all these things.
Right.
And he
space race
teaches himself calculus and trigonometry and about propulsion and about how the size of the cylinders have to be a certain size. Otherwise, the weight to thrust ratio is off, and they just become a giant bomb.
Yeah.
So, but they mentioned Werner von Braun a lot, and the space program and the rocket building. And it's a great movie, underrated.
Very cool.
There you go. One of my all-time favorite movies.
See, and I really The Aviator. Leonardo DiCaprio,
where he plays Hughes.
Yeah, Howard Hughes.
Howard Hughes.
Yeah.
I said Herbert Hughes. That's not it.
I mean, a lot of the movie wasn't about planes. A lot of it was
him
going batshit. But
right, but that was his big thing. Was the Spruce Goose?
The Spruce Goose. Flush mount every bolt.
Yeah.
So that it'd be more aerodynamic.
Right.
I mean, everything was glossy and clean, and he crashed that plane so fast. But it was cool. But it was just one of those,
glossy, too clean.
Yeah. Well,
too fast.
He wasn't that good of a pilot.
No, there is that.
He
as well.
liked flying.
He wasn't that good of a driver either. He wrecked his car more times than they can count.
Yeah.
Because he was trying to go fast.
Yeah.
So,
hey, there's a famous quote, Jeremy Clarkson from Top Gear. Speed never killed anybody. Suddenly becoming stationary is the problem.
you're not wrong.
Speed doesn't kill. Stopping too fast does.
Yeah.
That's that. I love it.
Again, he's not wrong.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
It's
Genius of a man.
It's like it's not skydiving that killed me. It's the sudden stop at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got it.
If your parachute can make that stop a whole lot slower,
Right.
then you're good.
Right. So, yeah, that's what we got for Invention National Inventor Day.
Yeah.
So, ready?
Yeah.
Today's big takeaways. That's so short and sweet. I like it.
It's good.
That intro
Yeah.
is
Big takeaways.
big takeaway.
I found that you can take 6 topics and somehow make them all randomly connect. Outside of Play-Doh,
Silly putty.
silly putty, whatever.
I'm sure if we really thought about it, we
It'd be a
could.
stretch.
Yeah. This guy.
Got it.
This guy. You thought it was a bad joke earlier about this.
That's a bad joke.
That's a good one. I think.
Yeah.
And we both.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But no, we found that everything is connected.
Yeah.
Be it, in one way or another. It's kind of cool that I can pick 3 things, you can pick 3 things, and somehow there's something that just connects it all.
Sure.
Kind of cool.
Sure. My big takeaway is that mesh screens saved a lot of canary lives.
Yes.
So.
And miners.
And miners.
But yes, canaries are thankful to this day.
To this day. That's
Yeah.
what. Yeah. Yeah. No. I mean, it just something as simple as a mesh screen.
Yeah.
Contained an explosion and saved lives.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It's
really cool.
Pretty awesome.
So, let's see. 2 weeks from today, we'll have our next show.
Yeah.
Just kind of a heads up, we are getting into a time of year here in the next few months to where our schedules are going to be a little shifty.
Yeah.
We're not sure exactly how we're going to do it with the day job on Sundays, but it might not be every other week as we have been to this point, but we will definitely give you guys heads up on changes in scheduling. Also, we are going to be potentially the next show broadcasting a little later in the day.
Right.
Now that football is over, now that a lot of the prior commitments that we had are lightening up a bit, we will be able to do this later in the day and potentially fit with more of your schedules for the live program. Of course, you can always listen to us on the playback. There's the video version that we have here. You can see on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
That is the home of the Dirty River Chronicles podcast. However, now, thanks to some fishing, you can also listen to the audio-only version on your favorite podcasting platform, whether that is Pandora,
Yeah.
Spotify,
Wow.
Apple Podcasts.
I'm trying to get more and more excited.
I know you lost.
I did find it funny that Pandora has us listed as explicit content.
Well, we do cuss.
Not enough, I didn't think, to matter, but apparently it is.
I had to put down if we were or we were not.
Oh, okay.
So
Gotcha.
some shows are
Yeah.
more than most.
Yeah.
Most of them were pretty good.
Yeah.
I think we only had 4 today.
I wasn't counting.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't realize I'm doing it.
Sure.
That's the military in me.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But
So.
yeah, there we go. So make sure that I know Spotify's a big one that people ask
Yeah.
about. Are you guys on Spotify? We are now.
Yes.
So all you do is search up Dirty River Chronicles and look for the fish with the gas mask. There we are. So outside of that, spread the word, share the love.
Yeah.
Feel free to share all of our shows. I know that we are clunky at best on a lot of days. That's okay. It's part of our charm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're figuring this whole thing out. We gave ourselves a year to get our identity down, and then we'll start polishing this turd at some point with
Feedback's always
some fine tuning. So
feedback's always welcome.
Stack Row's going, if you look at the bottom of the screen right as we speak, email dirtyriverchronicles@gmail.com. send us your feedback. Constructive criticism. Don't be mean, but be truthful.
Yeah.
You know,
even if the truth hurts,
Yeah.
it's better than
Yep.
thinking we're doing great and
we're not.
Right.
So if we're not entertaining you, then we're doing nothing. So follow us on Twitter at Dirty River ICT, on Instagram at Dirty River Podcast. And then, of course, if you're watching the video, you are part of our Facebook group or part of our YouTube channel. If you are part of the YouTube channel, if you look up in it's that corner up there if you're watching the video. Like, subscribe, share, comment, do all the things.
Tell your friends, tell your neighbors.
Right. Spread the love. That's the best thing you can do. So plans for 2024. Hopefully at some point we get a custom made logo.
Yeah.
Hopefully at some point we can turn that custom made logo into some custom gear.
Right.
So we'll see if that happens or not.
And stickers.
Stickers.
Yeah.
With a QR code for people to find us.
Yep.
We're trying.
Yeah.
We'll
We'll get there or we won't.
or we won't. And we'll have a good time doing this.
Exactly.
As well. So I did forget to play the Inventor intro.
Oh.
I'm gonna go ahead and play it
Okay.
because I'm kind of proud of it.
Okay.
Ready? Go.
Yeah.
There it is.
Nice.
Yeah, I said a couple of inventors that we didn't really mention:
That's okay.
Nikola Tesla and Benjamin Franklin.
They did kind of fall through the cracks.
They did, but that's okay.
Yeah,
we
fine.
We went with inventions that we liked,
Not inventors.
not inventors. So let's see. I guess that's really all we got.
Yeah.
So Ryan should hopefully be back on the next show, but if not, we understand.
Yeah.
We'll make it work. We don't have a topic lined up for next week yet. We will get that out.
We've got it narrowed down though.
We do have it narrowed down.
I think we have a
I think
topic.
we have a pretty good topic. Yeah.
Yeah.
We kind of whatever.
Gotta talk to Ryan.
Anyway, yeah, we got to get his feedback on that one and see what he wants to do as well.
Yep.
Yeah, no, share the love, like, subscribe on the YouTube channel. That's what's going to help us make a little money down the road, be able to do better production on this and not
Yep.
so clunky, and be able to get merch to you guys. So there's that. Look for the announcement about stickers. We should have some of those for you guys to not purchase, but request. We'll get them out to you, and you can help spread the love on that as well.
Yep.
But most of all, have a good next couple of weeks. Go 49ers.
Heck yeah. Down with the Chiefs.
Down with the Chiefs, even though we're
in Chief country. Let's be real honest.
I wouldn't say the heart, but definitely the lungs.
Chief country for sure.
Definitely the lungs.
Yeah.
So, that's all I got. Hey,
Yep.
Ron, thanks for another fun show. I don't know about good, but
Always.
definitely fun.
Yeah.
So, everybody take care.